Want to learn how to start $1 million business in just 2 days? That's the bold claim of $1 Million Weekend by Noah Kagan. Is it too good to be true? Let's dive in and find out. $1 Million Weekend by Noah Kagan is a fast-paced, no-nonsense guide for anyone wanting to take an idea and turn it into a profitable venture almost overnight. Kagan, with his background at Facebook, Mint, and as the founder of AppSumo, draws on his experience to provide straightforward, actionable advice. The book is built around one bold concept: launching $1 million business in just one weekend. With simple, impactful strategies, Kagan pushes readers to think big, take immediate action, and tackle the common hurdles that often hold entrepreneurs back. So who is this book for? Anyone wanting to start a business. I read it right after we launched She Makes It Work. And while it validated many of the things I had done, I learned enough new things that I found myself wishing I had read it before. But assuming you haven't launched your business yet, this is definitely for the entrepreneur who's asking themselves if their idea is good. Can it make money? Or even, I want to start a business, but I'm not sure which one. I know so many people in this situation, and trust me, I have told all of them to read this book. Let's go over some of the key points in the book. One of the key messages in the book is that speed trumps perfection. Kagan talks a lot about taking action quickly without waiting for everything to be perfect. The idea here is to launch fast, learn fast, and make improvements based on what real customers actually need. It's about focusing on progress, not perfection. Kagan also talks about overcoming mental barriers. He addresses two major fears that hold back aspiring entrepreneurs: fear of starting and fear of asking. He gives practical tips for overcoming both fears. Kagan also provides a formula for how to test and validate your business idea quickly with no investment. There are plenty of good business ideas out there, but that doesn't mean someone is willing to pay for them. The book teaches you some really easy ways to test that. After all, you don't want to start a business and not have any customers. The book also teaches you to solve actual problems customers have. Painkillers, not just create nice-to-haves, which are like vitamins. So this concept is painkillers over vitamins. It's pretty funny. Kagan also talks about leveraging existing platforms. He teaches how to use free existing platforms such as social media to both validate and market your business. He spends quite a bit of time talking about community building and marketing, again through social media. He gives practical, actionable tips on how to market, which is the hardest part for some of us. Personally, I've created a lot of great things, and the ones I don't market tend to fail. Having a guide like this is super helpful. So let's talk about the strengths of the book. This book is very fast-paced. Personally, I hate fluff, and he gives enough personal anecdotes to drive his points home without straying from the meat of his content like, unfortunately, many other business authors do. This is incredibly important. He gives practical, actionable advice that readers can implement immediately. I think the best parts of the book teach you how to brainstorm business ideas, how to test them, and then how to overcome common fears and hurdles with easy, practical tips. I think this is the biggest value in the book, and like I said, he gets to it very quickly. He also has an engaging writing style. His use of personal anecdotes to convey lessons really hits home. Personally, I really appreciated his vulnerability and humility in discussing his failures. We're benefiting from those hard-learned lessons. Also, he leads with the story of how he got fired from Facebook in the early days. Not everybody admits to that, and I loved it. It was honest, humble, and also inspiring to know he could go from getting fired to messing up something else to building multiple million-dollar businesses. One of the other things I really liked about the book was an emphasis on rapid execution to combat perfectionism. It is so easy to get stuck in analysis paralysis or in the trap of not ever launching because it's not perfect. It's important to learn what good enough is and to remind yourself that done is better than perfect. His book gives you great tips on how to do this and really reinforces your motivation motivation to do so. I think that his formula is applicable to many types of businesses and can be leveraged for a content creator as well. I also thought that the included workbook is great and really helpful. This is really important for the kind of person who likes to think about things but doesn't actually do them. He gives you the workbook so that you can sit down and either follow along with the book, recommended, or afterwards go through the formula by using the worksheets in the workbook. Again, I highly recommend doing this because it's the way to apply his formula and make sure you don't just read the book, get excited, and then not actually do anything with it. I actually listened to the audiobook instead of reading the physical book, and in the audiobook as well as in the ebook, he gives a really easy link for downloading the workbook. I'm assuming in the physical book, it's just as easy. All right, we've talked about all the strengths of the book. Now let's talk about the weaknesses and limitations. So there's some potential oversimplification here. The concept of $1 million weekend may create unrealistic expectations for some readers. So manage your expectations. You are not making the $1 million by the end of the weekend. The whole point of the weekend is to get you started. Another weakness is this is not super applicable to brick and mortar businesses in terms of the investment to get started, but I still think it's really good for vetting the ideas. I'd say it's still worth it if that's what you're struggling with. The last weakness is that half the book comes off as an ad for his AppSumo business. If you can get past that, the value is really there. Overall, I loved this book, in case you can't tell. It was one of the most compelling and engaging business books I had read in years. The audiobook version is great as well. He draws you in immediately and delivers on the value promise of the book. If you are thinking of starting a business, I highly recommend getting this book, downloading the workbook, and using his formula to test your idea and then get started. Personally, I was really inspired by his lessons about asking, and also about his message about it being okay to have failures. They're part of the process. Fail fast, learn, and move on. Also, asking is super hard for me, but if I think about my business as something I care about, which it is, it makes it a lot easier to ask on its behalf. Who cares if I'm rejected? Not only can I ask again, I also have a million other things to do, so it kind of doesn't matter as much. Indirectly, this book gives you not only a formula for how to ideate and launch your business, but the courage to do so as well. I already have my new business, and I love it. But if I'd read this book before starting She Makes It Work, I do think I would have spent more time brainstorming ideas and ideating on them. I really think that's the biggest value of this book, is that it teaches you how to know if your business idea is something that you can actually make money from. So if you're struggling with coming up with the ideas, or for narrowing down the ideas, or if you have one and you just don't know if it's going to be profitable, use the formula in this book to test it. Test it fast and then move on if it's not a great idea. What happens is people sometimes spend years nurturing this idea and this dream, and they just don't know if it's viable. So before you either let that dream go entirely or spend a bunch of time investing in something that may never get off the ground, test it so you know. And using his formula, it's not as big of a loss if you need to move on from that idea, because you've also been brainstorming additional ideas that may turn out to be more profitable and honestly may speak to your heart even more. So this is a book review. So let's get to the final part. Is it Gabby approved? Yes. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. Now, I'd love to hear from you. If you read the book, what did you think? And whether or not you've read it, what do you think about the idea of launching $1 million business in just a weekend? Does it sound possible, or do you think it's too ambitious? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want this to be a conversation, not just a monologue. So you've heard what I think. I want to hear what you think about this book. And if you're into these kinds of book reviews, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, because I'm planning to make this a regular thing. Eventually, I'd love to turn these reviews into an interactive book club where we can really dive deep and share our takeaways together. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, let me know. Let's build a community of curious minds eager to learn, grow, and take action. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.